And welcome to Flightdeck Live, powered by SportBuff, where if you go to sportbuffshop.com and use the code ALSFlightdeck10 at checkout, you will save 10% off your entire order. I'm Tim Capper, along with Cliffy D. Pine from the Wild, Wild East. I'm sure you would have enjoyed this game a little bit better. You know, actually kind of think of it. The last time that I was in Atlantic, Canada, was the infamous 2010 game between Montreal and Saskatchewan. Sorry, in 2010, where they lost that game. So, tag, you're it.
Yeah. So I guess my record on the road is 0-1 for 2025.
Something, yeah. So Owls lose this one 35-17 to the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Hamilton. Followed a 3-1 on the season, and yeah, where can we start with this one, dude? Because this is a team with the entire week with the will he won't he with Davis Alexander. McLeod Bethel Thompson was going to be these. Basically, I think 90% the slotted starter for this week, and then the Alouettes basically put up this game, this effort. It was just absolutely horrible. And we've seen bad games before in BC and stuff like that. But man, I'm sorry, but this one to me goes, it rates up there along with one of those bad games in BC, because this was just absolutely a horrible game to watch.
Yeah, pretty much anything that could go wrong did go wrong. And let's call it what it was. The first half was just a snooze fest. I mean, both teams didn't look like they wanted to be there. And yet, obviously you have to play the game, but somehow Hamilton managed to get it figured out. Bo Levi Mitchell was starting to look more like the Bo Levi Mitchell we knew in Calgary. And McLeod Bethel Thompson looked like the McLeod Bethel Thompson we knew in Edmonton. Unfortunately, he did not look good at all tonight. Wow, just not good. I'm sorry. There's no sugarcoating it. He really did not look good. And again, he had practiced with the ones all week. And yes, there was that sort of will he, won't he play when it came to Davis Alexander. But I mean, is this the thing that they always talk about, is you got to prepare as though you're going to be playing, as though you are going to be the starter, regardless of what your position is on the team? With that in mind, McLeod Bethel Thompson should have been ready to go. And I'm sorry to say, he did not look ready to go.
No, not at all. Yes, okay. Yes, McLeod Bethel Thompson is a career under 500 quarterback, even with all of his accolades and Grey Cup wins and et cetera, et cetera. And it's just that everything that seemed to go wrong tonight did. And it was the first quarter. It's like we're reverting back. We're reverting back to stuff that happened last year with Cody under center and Davis behind him. It was Caleb Evans at first behind him. It was just a nothing could get going at all. And I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know where they can go from here. I understand that they'll it's a one game thing. Yes, we'd rather have it happen now than in November. I completely get that. But considering, can we call this a one-off? Was this the Macbeth that we saw, as you stated, in Edmonton, where it's just no matter what he did, he couldn't rally the troops or anything? Because he was just anemic. It was just so anemic tonight. So few positives within this game itself. I mean, there were some, but by looks of everything, by the end of this game, the defense it seemed to be just gassed. It really did. And then the two mistakes on offense, giving Hamilton 14 points off of turnovers. I mean, even you take away that from the final score tonight, the Alouettes still don't have enough. But nothing could go right, and it just seemed. It seemed to be that this team tonight reverted back to the team that we saw at periods during the 2024 season, where it was anemic passing, Quarterbacks leading the team in rushing. Check for tonight. Giving up on the running game. Check for tonight.
And also too, you've got 3 running backs that played, and your quarterback leads in rushing. That's piss poor coaching. I'm sorry to say. I mean that's just that's inexcusable. As I said, one can only polish a turd so much, and this ain't it, folks. I hate to say it, but this is a massive fail. And again, call it at this point, I think we can give Davis Alexander the MOP, because again, I know it's not most valuable player, because this proved beyond a shadow of doubt just how valuable Davis Alexander is to this Alouettes organization. The way he's able to lead the team, the way he's able to generate excitement, to make plays happen out of nothing. McLeod Bethel-Thompson couldn't even come close to any of that tonight, and it showed. I mean, it showed in the way this offense was run. It showed with the defense being on the field for way too long, and even they were having a hard time. Like, again, they've proven they're not perfect, and no one expected them to be perfect. But I mean, this was not the same defense we've seen over the past 3 games. I mean, they were gassed, like you said. Nothing could go right tonight for this Montreal Alouettes team, whether it was on offense, defense, or other. I mean, it was just, I mean, what else can you say? What truly else can you say at this point?
No, I know. And by the way, if you are listening to the show live, make sure you do chime in with your comments. We do want to hear from you. We want to hear exactly what you guys have to say about the game tonight and what your thoughts are, whether it be offensively, defensively, quarterbacks, et cetera, et cetera. We do want to hear from you, and when we'll bring you guys up on the up in the show tonight. I mean, Cliff, this is a team that had come into this game which had 9 2-and-outs for the season through 3 games. Okay. They had 3 2-and-outs tonight and 2 turnover on downs, and I think the league kind of I think they categorize them as the same thing. We'll see next week in the total stats. But if you do put those together, that's 5. That's 5 in one game, and they had 9 in the previous 3. I think it just goes to show how anemic the offense was tonight. It really was. I mean, and it's true in the first half. It was both teams. I mean, it was 8-7. At the end of the first half, anemic by both teams, but then the Alouettes get crushed in the second half.
And again, Hamilton coming off a bye as well, so I mean, like, okay, you can make the argument they were rested, they were ready to go, they had a chance to prepare a little bit for the Alouettes, but at the same time, I mean, really, it's I'm just at a loss for words. I mean, I expected better, and I mean, it almost feels like we were sold a bill of goods when it came to McLeod Bethel-Thompson. And again, I don't want to necessarily put everything on him, because it is a team game. But I mean, unfortunately, like it or not, it does start and end with the quarterback. And to say he didn't have his best game tonight, I think would be a very generous statement.
For sure. Adam Snow is chiming in. I know he's currently in Albany, New York. Definitely not the Alouettes team I expected to watch tonight. I think both of us agree with you, Adam.
Us neither.
I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. Sure. The Tiger Cats were coming off of a bye. Okay. Yeah, as you said, Cliff, they had a little bit more rest. But man. Again, I go back to the whole thing this week with the cutesy, Davis might, wow, Davis might, da. It was MBT the entire week with the ones. Entire bit. Chris is also chiming in from East Coast. I think I can sum it up in one sentence. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. That's perfect.
Same. I mean, there's really nothing you can say. I mean, you could get angry, but what's it going to accomplish? I mean, it was just a pitiful attempt at football. I mean, if any Alouettes fans went to Hamilton, they've got to be feeling beyond disappointed in this. But I mean, there's really no other way to say it. I mean, it's just so there were some positives though. Why don't we focus on that? How about Jeffrey Kante-Arku with that fumble recovery? absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this kid is just really on one this year, and I'm all for it. Simply because there is no sophomore jinx. Clearly, when it comes to Jeffrey Conte Arku, I mean, this kid has just been all over the place defensively. He has played his ass off at every opportunity and has looked absolutely fantastic in doing so. So, okay, if we're gonna look for positives, that's one you can go with right there.
Yep.
That in a lot of ways, I mean, Hamilton was building some momentum there, and that just got snuffed right there and then. So I mean, okay, that's good. I mean, that's what we've come to expect from this Alouettes defense.
Yeah.
Is plays like that, and I think I can't help but wonder if maybe that's what they were hoping for or relying on, was like maybe the defense can score some points for us. Instead, it's Hamilton's defense, and Hamilton's defense looked more like what Montreal's defense has looked like the past couple of weeks, if you can believe that. And again, I don't know if that's just because Hamilton's just got a sneaky good defense that has just been kind of lying in wait, especially if it's simply a matter of this Alouettes offense just looking absolutely terrible with MBT in lineup.
Yeah, I think I'll give that your sentiment about the defense. I mean, again, a third down stop early in the game. And it leads to another plus also is, I guess, is one of the few pluses on offense tonight was Jose Maltos. He extended his streak to 14 in a row. Yep. I mean,
he definitely showed up to play. I mean, at one point it looked like there was him and Joseph Zima. Once again, it looked like all the points were going to come from your field goal, your kickers, whether they're field goal kickers or punters. But same thing for Hamilton too. They the two were also getting in on the Rouge game, and Mark Leggio was also kicking field goals as well. I mean, it's so again. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is a very even matchup. But as they say, winners find a way to win, and love him or hate him. I mean, I believe I mentioned this was his 100th victory in the Canadian Football League. So
fastest ever by a quarterback.
Yeah.
So and by the way, Josh Prescott chimed in. God, MTB. I'll take it that way, anyways. Look bad. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know who MTB is, but maybe we should put him into the game instead of MBT.
And this goes to the point too that Chris chimes in again too. Is I would like to have seen them try and get the ground game going. 100%. 100%, Chris. And I don't understand. Okay, there are a couple of things that really stood out to me tonight, Cliff. First and foremost, the first target for let me double check. I got this stuff in front of me. Sorry about this here, guys. So the very first target for Tyson Philpott was late in the third. Late in the second. I was like, what? Because it's funny. The TSN commentators were just mentioning it too. And then Tyson gets his first target. That's crazy. That's crazy in itself. I mean, hardly to Rambo. It really seemed to be Sneed and Speaker tonight. Nobody else really, from my understanding. And then, as Chris pointed out with the Russian game, McLeod led the team tonight, Cliff, tied for attempts with three for 19 yards. The Alouettes had a grand total. Their two quarterbacks had 6 rushes, 6 attempts out of the 10 total. What does that tell you?
Again, I come back to the point of you brought all 3 of your running backs to Hamilton, and you couldn't get any of them going. It is mind-boggling to me. And again, is it truly because Hamilton's run defense is that top tier? Maybe, but I mean, if only to take some of the pressure off of McLeod Bethel Thompson, hand the rock off. I mean, you could have put anybody in there to do that. You didn't need Davis Alexander or try to play these mind games with whether or not Alexander was going to start or not, when we know bloody well he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
But why not just hand the rock off at that point? I mean, especially with Sean Thomas Erlington, who can definitely hit the hole hard and definitely get those yards that are needed. I mean, even if it would have been like second and short, still just pound the ball. And again, Travis Tice and Stevie Scott, I mean, I'll be honest though. Stevie Scott looked ordinary. I mean, Tyson did have a couple of nice runs to.
Well, Scott would attempt. Scott had one attempt. Theis had one attempt. He had the longest. He had the longest rush for the team this week with 11 yards. MBT had 12, and I think that 12-yard one is where he tried to go Superman again.
Shades of Nick Lewis, let me tell you. We try to figure out what superhero he could be, but I guess that would be the one, Nick Lewis. I mean,
well, the problem is Nick Lewis could catch a ball. Anyways.
Yeah.
Josh chimes in again. Oh, well, might be a good time for a loss. First in the East still, but humbled. As I said, I mentioned that too at the top of the show too, Josh, is that it's better to get it out of the way now than for it to happen in December.
And it doesn't take away from what Davis Alexander has done too in 2025 as well. I mean, he's obviously not going to be credited with the loss because he didn't play. He got maybe too. I think he got a chance to see things for what they are and see how this offense is run when he's not in there, so that he knows what kind of mistakes he shouldn't be making.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I'm trying to find a silver lining in a loss like this, and I guess that would have to be one of them. I mean, Alexander was there; he was able to watch, and I'm sure he was trying to help out the quarterbacks as much as possible in this game. And all this to say is that he has definitely proven beyond a shadow of a doubt just how important he is to this Alouettes franchise, because, man, if he goes down to injury and you have to rely on MBT, I really don't like the odds. I hate being a negative Nelly or anything like that, but I mean, it's just, there's just no easy way to say it. I dare say that MBT, again, we already know his career is on the back nine, but I think it's time to head to the clubhouse, because it's efforts like this, especially when you've had a week to practice, and I don't care what excuses are being used, you practice as though you're going to be playing, and he was playing, and that was what he came out with. I'm sorry, but you got to be better than that. I mean, you may as well have put Caleb Evans or James Morgan in there, and I'm pretty sure they would have come up with.
Yeah, I don't understand why a change wasn't made there. I don't understand that either. I mean, we saw Caleb come in for a couple of drives where he did back-to-back plays after a short yardage, and then he stayed in for the next one. I mean, is it because the whole game plan was MBT? Is that possibly the reason why? I mean, but at least Caleb was able to he's able to run a little bit more. Just the stuff we saw tonight is concerning, and the two picks. MBT had 2 picks and
one was a pick 6.
Yeah, two picks and then the fumble. My God, where the Owls had pulled within 8, and they had a chance. And it looked good. And I still can't tell if the real issue was on our center or if it was an MBT or both. But that was brutal.
I'd have to say both, to tell you the truth. I mean, that's, as I said, you win as a team, you lose as a team, and by that point, yeah, you have to chalk it up to a team effort, good, bad, or other. And yeah, it was just a really bad snap. MBT did not react to it properly. Unfortunately, it touched him, becomes a live ball, and probably the easiest touchdown that Julian Hauser will ever score in his lifetime. I mean, he just literally had to fall down onto it, and
yeah.
It was the perfect end to a perfect evening, as they say. It's just
what are you gonna do? Chris said Caleb should have had more time behind center. I think they should have given him at least a chance. Paul chimes in and says MBT was completely out of sync with his receivers. 100%. 100%. And if that was the case, then again, why do they stop the running game, Cliff? Why?
Exactly. I mean, regardless of however many running backs you bring in, I mean, if it's not working, it's not working. And sometimes sometimes it's like that. For whatever reason, you can't get in sync with your receivers. You can't develop that relationship. For whatever reason, they're not feeling it with you. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hand the ball off then. I mean, at least you're not going to throw a pick if you're handing off the ball to your running back, I mean, then the onus comes on them to make sure that they secure the ball. In even if you're just not, I feel again just with the running backs that we have on this team, especially STE and Travis Tice. These are like bell cow backs that can just punch forward and move forward and just grind it out if they have to. And okay, it's going to be boring football maybe, but better than better than throwing picks or pick sixes even. It's just I don't know. I was truly at a loss for words, but I don't seem to be able to stop talking. I guess I'm in awe of what we saw tonight. And okay, fine. I mean, we knew there was a possibility that the Alouettes could not win this game simply because Davis Alexander wasn't behind center. But you shouldn't think like that, especially the organization shouldn't be thinking like that as well. Because again, if that's your mindset, if that's the way you're going to operate things as an organization going forward, you're in trouble. Because ideally, everybody should be able to, when we talk about the depth on a team, it's not just in the receivers or defensive backs or offensive line or anything like that. Quarterbacks too. You want to know who you have behind center.
Yeah.
And if your QB1 isn't able to go, well, your backup better be ready to go when his number is called. And tonight, that's really what it was. MBT did not look ready to go. He just did not look good at all. And really makes me wonder, like, was it out of pride? Was it not wanting to hurt his feelings? Like, why they didn't pull him and put Caleb Evans in there to do more than just short yardage situations? I guess only Jason Moss can truly answer that. But, I mean, at this point, especially once the game started getting away, after that pick six, I think I would have said, you know what, just wasn't your night, pal. Just you did your best. We're gonna see what let the kid get in there and get some reps, and let's see what he can do. I mean, are you afraid of showing up your backup quarterback? I don't know, but tonight was just not a great night for Alouettes fans. It wasn't a great night for the team, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and we're talking about the first half. I mean, I said this is how it went. I mean, the first half, the Alouettes only had 97 net yards. 20 rush, 83 passing, and then 7 first downs. They were at 36% on their second down conversions, 5 punts and an interception. Defense was on point. I mean, 1 turnover on down, they had a sack and 2 knockdowns. That's great. But then the second half, both teams were playing slightly better. But in the end, it just too many turnovers. Again, those 14 points of turnovers really hurt the Alouettes. But yet then again, themselves, the offense was just atrocious. So, MBT was 24-41 Cliff for 203 yards, a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Again, as I said, he led the team with 19 yards on 3 attempts. 3 attempts.
I mean, that's
3 attempts. And then receiving wise. Yeah, I know. Receiving wise. Cole Speaker led the team. He had the touchdown. It was a nice touchdown, by the way, in the fourth quarter to bring the Owls within 8. 6 receptions, 57 yards. Tyler Snead also had 6 receptions for 55. Charleston Rambo, he had 10 targets tonight. Actually, Speaker at 11. Rambo at 49, and Tyson Philpott ended up finally having 41 and getting only on 4 receptions, 7 targets for 41 yards. It's just again how late they chose to go to Tyson in the second. This is not really a thing, I think, with losing Mac, because Rambo's usually been able to step up and be the next guy, and same thing with Speaker, and same thing with Snead. So tonight, was it the quarterback? Yes, it was, and the stats show it. I was wondering, is this going to be another game where the Alouettes, don't lose by not scoring an offensive touchdown? Came close.
Yeah, I mean, again, I really got the impression that they're hoping the defense would bail out the team tonight, and they tried. I mean, like I said, the defense by and large did their job, but clearly they proved they're human after all, and they were they were looking gassed in that fourth quarter. But again, they spent so much time on the field. Of course, I mean,
yeah.
Bo Levi and company was just able to just pick them apart slowly but surely. It was like death by a thousand cuts. Just little here, little here, little there, there. And next thing you know, it's like this defense is sucking wind. And you know, again, quarterback is not MBT is not helping them out at all with 2 and out, 2 and out. Like I mean, just barely moving the ball downfield. And just like I said, this was
Tonight, Cliff, the longest drive for the Alouettes was on a field goal. Their first drive in the fourth quarter. They went 10 plays, 36 yards. Beyond that, they only had three other drives that were of 8 yards, of 8 plays. That's it. I mean, and the first half alone, it was this is where the drives were: punt, 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 interception, punt, field goal, punt. I mean,
tell you what, you're not going to win too many games like that. I mean, that's just no. And again, I guess we've truly been spoiled the last 3 games with Davis Alexander as QB1. I mean, it's just been almost magical the way he's been able to, come out and just blow the doors off of people and just play lights out football. And to get this was like, this was like, I'm not sure Alouettes provided by wish.com. I mean, it's just
that's
just
good.
not the same. I mean, that's no other way to describe it.
That's a good analogy. I'll take that one.
And again, if you want to say, okay, McCullough Thompson, okay, well, he's in his late 30s. Like, well, so is Trevor Harris, and you know what? There's a lot of Trevor Harris in him in this game, in the game tonight. Wow, I mean,
well, it's funny. I think there's a difference this week between Trevor Harris and MBT. Trevor isn't playing this week because he can't. He's unable to start. But anyways,
I almost would have rather had MBT dink and dunk his way down the field. He couldn't even do that, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, it would have been boring football, but still, at least he wouldn't be making mistakes. I mean, and hey, if all he could do was Jose Melto's field goals as a result, just like how it seems to be in Saskatchewan with Trevor Harris, then so be it. I mean, look, Riders are undefeated still, right?
Yeah, that is true. True. Real quick, this is the most anemic that the Alouettes have been all year on second down, Cliff. They were 8 of 21 on second down for only 38.1%. Coming into this game, they were at a it was like a 54% clip. I mean, and I saw a stat tonight too. The team was coming into the game. The team was 7th in red zone drives. 7th. So something had to give, or they've been scoring from far away.
I think that's really, it's the latter. I think because like a lot of they haven't had to get to the end zone or the red zone or score in the red while they're in the red zone because they haven't needed to get to the red zone. They just been able to score all by itself. I mean, how many times has Davis Alexander thrown an absolute bomb downfield, like 50 plus yards downfield, and set up for a touchdown? That's just what he does. So I mean,
yeah.
But tonight, it was glaring, just the difference between having him under center and having MBT under center tonight. I mean, just clearly not the same quarterback, not the same style, not like you're talking like black and white as far as quarterback styles go. And again, it's not to say that how McCullough Thompson has done in the past. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback because of that, but tonight was not the night to lay an egg, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah. Chris chimes in. I wish it wasn't against the Owls, but congrats to Bo Levi Mitchell on his 100th win. Yeah, for sure. For sure. What is it recently with the Owls and these milestones? I think it was a couple of years ago. They gave their first CFL wins to two rookie quarterbacks, and now Bo Levi. But Chris brings up another point here. He goes, so do the Owls look for another QB to bring in mid-season? I mean, it's not an emergency yet, but if MBT can't get it done and if Davis's health issue becomes regular, they may need someone else. Okay. As we mentioned on the pod, and by the way, if you didn't watch it, make sure you'd watch it this week. It was pretty good. This has been an issue. The hamstring issue is something that Davis has been fighting all season. As early as camp. Cliff and I were there, and I think we saw the first game, the first time that it actually occurred. And I think it's occurred a couple times since then. And I think it occurred in Toronto in the opener in Montreal, and it occurred, 2 weeks ago. They're taking this the right way. In my opinion, again, I think unlike the Cody hamstring pull or tear last year, this is something completely different. Because if I remember correctly, Cody gets hurt versus Toronto in that first loss last year, and he's not on the sideline for any of the games for the rest of the year until he gets better. Davis was there. Davis was there tonight in Hamilton. And I think that shows, leadership right there. So I also think that also says that the hamstring issue is not that bad as it was last year versus Cody. The Alouettes currently have 4 rosters on their 4 quarterbacks on their active roster. MBT, Caleb, Evans, and James Morgan. I don't think right now it's time to panic. Because right now, with them having 4 quarterbacks, what they could do is they could, say they release MBT as an example. They still got to bring in a quarterback who can learn the system. Right now, all 4 of these quarterbacks know the system. But the problem is, at least at the moment, MBT, when you come to those 4, MBT's at the bottom when it comes to how much experience they've had with the system itself. And with Caleb, probably Caleb and DA are almost the same, and then James Morgan behind those 2. I mean, do you agree with that, Cliff? I think we're okay. I don't think that the hamstring issue is as bad as it was for Cody last year. I think doing it right. I think you and I would have been surprised as hell if Davis did start this week. I think it was a smart move. It has nothing to do with a short week. The Alouettes will probably practice this week on, give or take, on Canada Day. That should be their first practice because they get a home game on Saturday versus BC. And I would not be surprised. We'll see if he's practicing at that point. But what do you think about Chris's comment?
Also to the point, I think what you said was absolutely spot on in the sense that it's all about knowing the system as well, and bringing someone in now to learn the system. It would kind of set you back in the sense that, okay, then you ultimately would have to rely on, by default, Caleb Evans and James Morgan. To me, again, the question I would ask if I had the opportunity would be, at what point was there anything that could have happened, barring injury, that would have made you go to Caleb Evans or James Morgan in the game? Like when you saw things were clearly not working with McLeod Bethel-Thompson, when do you pull the ripcord? When you hit the ejector button on him? And it's not to say he's a bad quarterback. Like sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you just have a bad day at the office. And I really truly want to believe that's what it was with McLeod Bethel-Thompson tonight. It was just a really bad day at the office. Not ideal because, again, you had a whole week to get in sync with your receivers and to command this offense and do the things that you need to do in order to get a victory against Hamilton. Didn't do it. At what point do you say, okay, you know what? It's clearly not MBT's night. Caleb, get in there. Let's see what you can do. And I go back to training camp as well. I mean, the limited action that MBT saw in training camp, he didn't look great there either. But a lot of people just sort of wrote it off as, well, it's training camp. Doesn't matter. We know what he's capable of doing. Same thing with Davis Alexander. He didn't look his best either, but obviously he was clearly saving himself for the regular season, which, again, when it counted, Davis looked absolutely phenomenal. When it counted, MBT did not look phenomenal. So at what point should they have gone with Caleb Evans? I definitely think they should have. He had a very solid camp, had extremely good preseason as far as I was concerned. I think he could have at least kept the Alouettes in this game. I think he would have made much better decisions. I think he could have maybe got this offense going just a little bit more, and I think he would have played the game a little bit more like what Davis would have versus what MBT's skill set is, or James Morgan. I mean, especially too after you'd gotten down the way you did. Why not let the kid get in there and get some reps, like honest to goodness reps? And who knows what could have happened? Maybe he could have made something out of nothing too. You never know. At least he knows the system. At least he knows what's expected out of him. I don't understand why they stuck with MBT to the bitter end. I mean, it was just, especially too, they had signs of life, and just that snap in the bad snap that sailed into the end zone where the defender was able to fall down onto it. I mean, like I said, it was just okay. That's basically a microcosm of what we saw this evening in Hamilton. It's just wasn't meant to be, clearly.
Why do you think it carried over to the defense like it did? I mean, yeah, so the defense gave up 21 points, less the points that that came off of the turnovers. I mean, only one sack tonight, and they didn't seem as dominant. Now, maybe okay, and somebody may actually point out that, Tim, the Alouettes have gone up against to the two teams recently that were not that good, Ottawa and Edmonton. And maybe they're going up. It's this East opponent now. They're a little bit better team, which Hamilton is. In my opinion. But what was the defense? What was the difference though between this defense from this week versus last? Was it the team?
Could very well be. I mean, again, I looked at that first half, and it was not exciting football, but one could say it was a defensive battle between both teams. I feel like the defense was on point during the first half of the game. Again, best example of that is, as I talked about, the fumble recovery by Jeffrey Kantayarku. I mean, as far as I was concerned, this defense was responding, but I'm pretty sure that they also too watched MBT just struggle out there. And I wonder if maybe it just kind of got in their heads a little bit, like, oh, maybe we've got to be the superheroes here. We got to be the ones that put points on the board. And maybe they were just trying too hard to make something happen, like trying to make Bo Levi make some mistakes. And tonight, he wasn't making very many mistakes. I mean, he was not perfect by any stretch, but he was looking like how we think McLeod Bethel Thompson should have looked. This Hamilton defense looked like this, how we expect this Montreal defense to look. It's crazy to think, but like this Hamilton team tonight looked more like the Montreal Alouettes than the Montreal Alouettes did.
Yeah, and it makes us. It's funny to say this. We don't know what went into the initial trade for Cody for MBT. What the reasoning was, animosity, not wanting to change, bring too much potential negativity into the locker room. Would the same thing have happened tonight if Cody had been our backup? I don't know. Right now, Cody's been relegated to become, he's now a short yard. Again, I'm going to laugh at this. He's become a short yardage guy, which I'd never expected in Edmonton. But
he's proven he can do it. But yeah, I mean, and if Cody was still here, if he would have accepted being a backup, I just couldn't do that. And again, I think it's so tough because would Cody have accepted being the backup here in Montreal? There was nothing that led me to believe that, yes, he would have accepted it. He would have been no problem with it. I just want to be a part of this team. I want to retire as an Alouette. Those are all the things he had said before. But at the same time, he's got pride, right? He's got that, he's shown that he can put the team on his back and will them to victory. And that's ultimately what he'd want to do. And I'm pretty sure had Cody Fajardo been in this game, starting for Davis Alexander, who would have only lost his job due to injury, much like Cody lost his job to Davis due to injury, it'd be hard for you'd start getting those questions again, like, well, maybe we shouldn't have gone with Davis Alexander after all, even if getting hurt was a fluke thing. If Cody came in and played outstanding football, all we'd say is, okay, the Alouettes won, but it's always going to be, in the back of your mind, just a little bit like, maybe this is the Cody that won the Alouettes the Grey Cup, that did everything he could to make this season. Maybe last year was sort of an outlier, but I don't think we'll ever truly know at this point. It's all, hindsight's always 2020, but again, the trade had to be made. There's just no way. I don't think they truly could have coexisted together, Davis Alexander and Cody Fajardo.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because, I definitely think the world of both those guys as quarterbacks. It's just, it was a trade that unfortunately had to be made. Beth Thompson comes in. He's got a wealth of experience. He has won Grey Cups before. He has led teams to championships. So, by and large, he should be able to step in when the starting quarterback goes down to injury.
Yeah.
What I have a hard time with believing is that he looks so lost out there. He looks so unprepared and not in sync at all with anybody. And then the worst thing is that the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results each time. Every time MBT went out there on offense, that's exactly what it was. That was very much the definition of insanity right there, because it was working. And whether you want to chalk it up to he's just not the quarterback he was, or it was just a bad day at the office, I don't care what you say, but at some point, Jason Moss, Anthony Calvillo, anyone who's involved with the offense should have pulled him aside and said, you know what? It's not your night tonight. It's not your fault. Don't stress it. Grab a seat. We're going to let one of the young kids come in and win, lose, or draw. Whatever happens. It doesn't mean you're a bad quarterback. It doesn't mean you were a mistake or anything like that. It's just tonight was your night. But instead, Moss just kept sending him back out there over and over again, and it just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't. It just wasn't enough tonight.
No, Chris says I expected MBT to play the way Bo did tonight. I think both of us did. He also stated that Cody probably should be starting in Edmonton, but he's accepted his role as a backup. Would have been very happy to have him as our backup here. But as Cliff just pointed out, I'm on that. I'm kind of on that same train though, Cliff, with you. I think if Cody had been here, I think it would have, as a backup, I think it would have hurt the locker room more than helped. And maybe just the change was necessary. But yeah, man, and I understand it feels like it feels like the Owls going out to BC and losing because just how anemic the loss was. The Owls have had anemic losses before in the past, but I guess we've been kind of spoiled with having how well Davis did last year as a backup. And, we just got, it just, everything seemed to just go south tonight. It really just did. And I'm going to bring it up anyways, because they were commenting on it too. Just Josh mentioned, also, I know Canadian flag on the Owls jersey, the new one. Is it only the home jerseys? And Chris said, I also noticed, I noticed the missing patch too. It's a good question. Don't know. I think a lot of people actually did notice why that it wasn't there, but we don't know the reasoning behind it, so we really can't comment. Obviously, we're going to talk about this more in detail on the podcast on Wednesday. It is again, it's there'll be more to talk about for sure, and hopefully we'll get some more information. We'll get to see the post-game, probably the post-game comments or locker room video from the Alouettes and Coach Moss. Curious to see what that is. You and I have talked about back and forth before the show started on what that could possibly be, but I don't know, because it's, how much of it do the Owls editors have to, want to actually mute out the video?
Well, listen, we're used to seeing Jason Moss dropping F-bombs left, right, and center, but I don't think it's not going to be very in a positive way like it has been in previous weeks. But
no, and
it's going to be tough, and I'm pretty sure I hope what he tells the players is, you know what, it's one loss. No one expects you to go 18-0. No, like in all reality, let's make that very clear. Nobody expected this Alouettes team to go 18-0. They were going to lose games no matter what.
Yeah.
Tonight just happened to be the night, and it you know, I don't think it derails anything for the Alouettes. I think once Davis Alexander is back, everything will be fine again. I think he'll be back doing what he does best, and this team will play accordingly. It just would have been nice had they been able to help out MBT, but I think MBT also needed to help himself out a little bit too, and he simply did not.
Yeah.
I keep saying it, but it just wasn't his day today, and it's unfortunate. But listen, what are you gonna do other than burn the tape and start over next week, and just get ready for the BC Lions coming in next Saturday?
There is a plus to come out of this. I mean, as everybody knows, this is the Alouettes' third straight game on the road. It's the second year in a row that the Alouettes have had to endure going through a 3-game road trip like this. Last year in that 3-game road trip, they went 1-1-1. This year, they went 2-1. So there is a positive to it. The Alouettes are coming back home to play the BC Lions. It's a team that has had the Alouettes number quite a bit when it comes to winning at Percival Molson. And I'm sure that the Alouettes are going to be hungry, especially after what has happened this week versus Hamilton. And I'm sure there's a lot of work. But again, it's a loss in June. It's not a loss in November. No matter how anemic that we thought this game was tonight, and our concerns that we've raised, it's June. We'll see. And it's not November.
As I've stated before too, you don't win the Grey Cup in June or July. You win it in November. So yeah, if you're gonna have a loss, this is the time to do it. And it's unfortunate, but you're just as well to get it out of the way. You know, at least now there's not that pressure, right? You know, imagine if this team had gone on that run that they went on last year. I think they were at 10-1 at one point. I mean, and then that's when I felt like things were starting to fall apart just a little bit.
But the thing is, they got their loss out now. So, and Chris brings up a point too, which we really haven't talked about. I wonder if Mac is MBT's favorite receiver during practice, and how much did that hurt? I don't think so, because Mac didn't practice last week. He also came up, and we don't know how severe that injury is for Mac either. So,
not to mention too, again, there's a wealth of talent on this team to play with, for MBT to play with. I mean, that can't be an excuse. That can't be a justification. You got to be ready to go when your number's called, and you got to be ready to play with whoever's put in front of you, whether it's the creme de la creme receivers or a bunch of stiffs on the practice squad. Regardless, you got to, when your number's called, whatever position you play, you have to be ready to go. And simply put, there's nothing that led me to believe that MBT was ready to go tonight, and that's unfortunate, but that's how we end up where we are today.
Now, 4 receivers tonight had over 7 targets or more. After that, the other five receivers that went to had less, had 3 or less targets. So it was 4 guys tonight. And again, it didn't make it. Again, we can harp on this all we want, but in the end, it is a loss for the Alouettes. They do lose their first on the season. And they follow 3-1. It's now on for BC next week. And stay tuned to all of our socials, because it's, as I said, most likely the practice will be, we're assuming that it will be on Canada Day. Also, and I'm just going to mention this now for any of you who happen to be local to Montreal, tomorrow, David Alexander and the O-line are actually going to be doing a meet and greet at McLean's Pub tomorrow, downtown Montreal. So why not go meet the team and talk to DA and talk about what's to come, not what happened, but what's to come.
I think that's a great idea. A good way to let this team know that you're ride or die with these guys, because let's face it, tonight was not the best effort from this entire team. As I said, you win as a team, you lose as a team. Everybody takes blame or accepts the accolades, win or lose. So, definitely, if you have a chance, you're looking for something to do this weekend, definitely head on down to McLean's Pub, which is a great place to be all by itself. But you got Davis Alexander and the entire offensive line there. chatted up with them, maybe buy them a beer. Why not? I mean, I think that's great. Um, Actually, I do want to mention one thing. As you folks know, I've been on this East Coast trip for the past week. I actually, and if you saw it, you saw it on our socials, on our X account. I was very privileged to meet Alouettes legend and 2002 Grey Cup champion Terry Baker in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, and speaking with him for just a little bit. He's down to come onto the podcast, so it's just a matter of right now. Obviously, tour season's getting underway in Lunenburg, and it's a little crazy for him. But he said when things start to settle down a little bit, he's definitely down to talk with us and share some stories from that 2002 Grey Cup victory and his time in Montreal as well. So make sure you folks stay tuned for that, because just an absolutely great dude, and I'm definitely looking forward to sharing his stories with each and every one of you as well.
Yeah, that should be fun. I was able to meet him in your same location as you did about 6 years ago when I went up there for a wedding for a friend, and we weren't it was 6 months ago. Yeah. And but I know, I think Terry's been a long time coming too. We've talked about it before, but I think this even rekindles it even more. So if you happen to miss any of the part of this broadcast, make sure that you check us out over on YouTube, X, or Facebook, and chime in. We're curious to know, what do you think of our new intro? Just curious. First time we premiered that tonight. We're curious to know what you guys think of the intro. But beyond that, again, what's that, Cliff?
I was going to say, if this is also your first time checking out Flightdeck Live on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe so that you get hit the notification bell, so that when we do go live again, whether it's with Flightdeck Live or even podcast, you will be notified right away. And of course, also make sure you're notified and following on all of our other social platforms as well. Oh, look who just chimed in. My man, Reggie Stubblefield.
Stubby.
Congratulations on the win, Reg. Listen, I know you weren't on the field. I know you would have loved to it. I hope you got a chance to see a lot of the guys and that. So congrats on the win. Definitely well deserved. And we miss you too, pal.
Yeah, and the main thing is for you, buddy, get healthy, get back on the field, because we want to see you ball out. You may be a Hamilton Tiger Cat, but still, we want to see you be able to ball out, man. That's all that matters.
100%.
All that matters. Perfect way to end the show. Again, stay tuned for the show, for the podcast on Wednesday, and stay tuned for any more information from our socials. So for the final time, for Cliffy D in Atlanta, Canada, and me, Tim Capper, we'll talk to you soon. So enjoy your evening.